All righty. Good evening, everybody. My name is Ryan here. I'm joined with Joel Fritzma here, Michigan Storm
Mhm.
Chasers. I'm going to go ahead and dive into a few of our topics of discussion on these weekly live streams. If you're new here, we talk about the upcoming week, the temperature expectations, rain chances, severe chances, if any, so on and so forth. So, welcome to the stream. Hit the like button for us. We'll go ahead and get started here. So, if you missed our YouTube video we put out a few days ago titled Summer is Coming, you're going to be learning something new today. So, first and foremost, today, tomorrow, and Tuesday, focus on the next couple of days here. We're going to be looking at temperatures solidly in the 70s for a majority of our state here. We're talking tomorrow, roughly maybe 60s up in the UP, potentially in northern Michigan as well. But for the most part, central and southern Michigan down toward Flint, Lansing, Mount Pleasant, Detroit, Kalamazoo, those areas will be firmly in 70 or so degree mark. Tuesday, looking at temperatures once again here. Go ahead and dive into the model. Forgot to bring this up here, but here we go. For tomorrow, here's your temperatures for tomorrow 60 statewide here. Going to probably touch 70 in the further south areas. And as we get into Tuesday here, we're going to be looking at a little bit of a warmer temperature gradient here, probably upwards of mid 70s statewide here. Again, UP and northern lower will be a little bit less than that. So probably right around 70 or so for you guys up there. Then as we get into Wednesday, this is when our pattern is going to shift. We're going to be looking at a little bit warmer air filling in here. We see the nice bright red colors coming back in here for the United States, or for the Midwest really, but for most of the central United States as well. As we get into that Wednesday afternoon period, we're going to be looking into the 80-degree mark, probably well into the 80s here. Wouldn't be shocked to touch 85, 86 on Wednesday as well. And then from there on out, we're going to be looking at temperatures here solidly in the 80s, and that's where the models ends here. Go ahead and jump into the GFS to go a little bit longer term on this. But overall, after Wednesday, that's going to be a kick up into very warm air here. There's our warmth for Thursday. There's our warmth here. Friday looks a little bit cooler right now, but wouldn't really count that out just yet. We are seeing a little bit of a cool down potentially for that Thursday night, maybe Friday time frame. We'll discuss that here in a second. But as we get back into the weekend here, that warmth just fills right back in. It's going to stick around for a while. We go ahead in the extended model here. We're seeing 80s, close to 90s on some of these days as we get into next week, but that's going to be a bit too far out to say solidly with confidence. But overall, precip chances for right now do appear to be limited to 3 days. Let's go ahead and start with the NAM3 model here. Looking at right around the Tuesday afternoon and evening time frame, some passing showers are possible. Would not expect these to be real noisemakers, so to speak. It should just be rain, maybe a rumble of thunder in some spots. The real attention is going to be turned to Wednesday and Thursday here. So Wednesday in particular, looking at a incoming piece of energy here, which is going to set the stage potentially for the UP and parts of northern lower Michigan of maybe some thunderstorms, perhaps some severe weather as well. We're seeing a good overlap here of wind shear as well as instability on the NAM model currently. And that's the only model we really have out right now. So we're going to have to kind of wait a few more days here. We should know a lot more by tomorrow night, but a few more days or we'll have a few more model runs, should I say, out by tomorrow night to go over this. Right now, it's just a NAM model showing us some good wind shear overlapping there with instability for parts of the UP Wednesday night. And then the real topic of discussion is going to be coming in for the Thursday timeframe. When we look at our instability here, for Thursday, we do have an incoming shortwave. What looks to be in the upper level ridging here. I'll dive into that here in a second. But that upper level shortwave may trigger some showers and storms here on Thursday that may be potentially on the stronger side. But again, a lot of things have to come together. But right now, we are seeing the instability on the European model that does stretch into a large portion here of the Midwest, including Michigan, back through Wisconsin, Illinois, back through Iowa, as that shortwave approaches. And that would be, supportive of some strong to severe storms in the terms of probably damaging winds and perhaps large hail come Thursday night. But again, we're still 4 or 5 days out from this. So take what I'm saying here with a grain of salt. It's just something we're watching right now. And then as we look at a few other things here, mainly noting here the pattern we're going to be setting up here after Wednesday of this week. So this is your upper level wind chart here. Notice how these black lines indicate basically where your jet stream is in simple terms. It's going to be riding the northern fringe of the United States here. It's kind of like a weekly or like an N type of like a pattern here. It kind of like goes up and then back down like a backwards U. And those black lines will stay up top there of the United States. And then as it gets into Michigan here, it'll just kind of angle down into towards the East Coast. This is a typical summertime pattern. We call it a ridge or a death ridge. It's a very typical summertime pattern. But what happens with these ridges is that's your jet stream, but also below that, there's really nothing going on here in the U.S. And that allows for hot, humid air to penetrate into the United States here on a large basis here. So beneath that jet stream will be warmer temperatures, Michigan included, with that warmth, with the warm up, should I say. But also with this pattern here, it puts Michigan and also just the upper Midwest in place, in a perfect place, should I say, for some storm complexes to ride this ridge. Now, getting a feel for when it's going to happen is hard because we're going to rely heavily on these little kinks or short waves in the jet stream to kick off showers and storms. So what days that's going to happen, we're not going to know. But right now, the first one we're going to see is going to be coming on Thursday, and that would be the best time frame right now to watch for that first shot at precip, potentially strong or severe weather. Looking at one more thing here, just to kind of go over the pattern a little bit further in depth here, the ensemble models here, we take a look at the USA here of our basically the overlap of wind shear and instability, going back to the last model run here because it was loaded out. But take a peek here. After the June 12th, after this Wednesday's time frame, your overlap of wind shear and instability here is going to be present almost every single day in the upper Midwest. And that is due to that ridging pattern we're going to be in. Now, that doesn't mean every day is going to have severe weather. It just basically means if we get those kinks or short waves in that ridging, it could meet an unstable and highly sheared atmosphere, which could spark severe weather. So this is a typical summertime pattern we're going to be entering here. And the pattern does look to stick around for not just a couple days, but likely a few weeks, 1, 2, 3+ weeks here. We don't see this ridge breaking down on these models anytime soon once we get into the pattern here. It just stays with that jet stream shifted north here into the northern United States, and it just rides that ridge after early to the end of June here, and that ridging is still, there to an extent. So long-term pattern here to stay. Takeaways from this: after Wednesday, warmer air, probably going to be upper 80s, low 90s for a long time. Of course, there probably is going to be some cooler days mixed in there. Not every day is going to be 95 degrees, but we're probably going to see multiple days of extended warmth here, and then any storm chances rely heavily on two main things: the short waves within that ridging, and number two, the lake breeze boundaries on summertime days close to the lakes, like Michigan, Erie, Huron. We have inland lake breezes that like to push in. Those can spark showers and storms that should be like the pulse type, which don't really do much of anything. They can get occasional severe weather with those, usually just a rain shower and potential lightning with those. And those could pop up anytime on summer days close to the lakes. So overall, your first couple of days of the week, tomorrow, Tuesday, a little bit cooler, 70s likely. Wednesday, warm up in the mid 80s, and it stays mid 80s as we get into mid and later parts of June. Looking at the CPC, the Climate Prediction Center, the next 6 to 10 days here, we see a large portion here of the United States in a warmer than average pattern. That's to be expected with that ridging. Precipitation chances for Michigan do appear to be above average. That makes sense. Looking at the 8 to 14 day, a similar story here. Michigan in general in a much above average temperature pattern here, as well as precipitation chances leaning to be above average here as well. And then also our week 3 to 4 at the end of June into early July, still seeing above average here for our temperatures. And it says equal chances right now with just above average kicking into the Western UP there. So on the fringe there above average precip, but overall warmer than average and pretty much on pace with normal precipitation next week to 2 to 3 weeks or so. All right. Did I miss anything, Joel?
I think you covered it pretty well.
Do want to mention here as well, we do have a couple SPC risks to mention, not for us, but it does bear watching here. For Thursday in particular, the slight risk that is out for Thursday does bump into Lake Michigan there, just off to our west. Would not be shocked if they shift that. Right now, I do think the confidence is higher off to the west. I would agree with that. But when the time comes for Thursday, at the very least, we probably will be in a lower end risk if all goes well here. We still have multiple days to kind of track this down and get it lined up. So just pay attention to Thursday's forecast and also Wednesday if you're up in the UP, but just don't, automatically assume, hey, severe weather is going to happen. No, not like that just yet. Let's wait for it to develop. We'll wait a few days, get more confidence, and we'll introduce a forecast when we get closer to that time frame. But do want to mention the SPC outlook here does bring that slight risk in close proximity to Michigan. And also on Wednesday, it's shifted well off to the west here. I wouldn't be shocked, though, if that got shifted, into the UP here on the day 3 outlook with a marginal risk, just given we're seeing the NAM model does throw out some ingredients here for severe up in the UP and perhaps northern lower as well, but the UP would have definitely a much higher shot as of right now, as of the models we're seeing. So just want to mention that as well.
I will say I was looking at the GFS this morning, and it looks like potentially Friday midday could be a chance for also severe weather, mainly for Southeast Michigan. But again, we have about 5 days to kind of iron out those details. Again, one day will probably, push the timing for the next day off by a little bit, and then that will also cause a chain reaction further into the week.
Classic domino effect.
Yes. Jazz with 5 gifted memberships here on YouTube. Thank you very much, Jazz, as always. We appreciate you very much.
Yeah, appreciate you, Jazz. Thank you.
Those are handed out to anyone who's anyone who's subscribed to us for free on YouTube. So,
any questions, guys?
Caden brings up a good question. For me to storm chase as I get older, what would I have to study in college? You don't actually need a degree to storm chase, but I will say online courses or taking, I guess you could say, a couple of college classes in forecasting and just overall storm, kind of just the basics of storm nature and stuff like that. That's going to be your go-to. You don't need the meteorology degree, but it is a good help because when you get to the later years, you start learning about hypnotics, which is your upper level atmosphere stuff, and then mesoscale I'm going to be learning in the fall here that'll be like one of my last classes I have to take before I get the degree. So you don't necessarily need the degree, but it's, kind of recommended. But everyone here, not everyone here went to college for meteorology. So, yeah.
I see Mike ask about tornadoes here on Thursday. So, Mike, what we're seeing right now on models, again, we're still a good ways out from this, but right now we see more of a wind and hail threat. Again, similar to what we had this past week with our setup, the wind shear just doesn't look, or not the wind shear, but the spin in the atmosphere doesn't look as supportive of tornadoes at this point. That could change. But again, I'm not really seeing this being a tornadic risk or an overly concerning tornadic risk, more of a wind and hail. Yeah, that's a good way to put it there, Dusk. I'd say isolated at best as of right now. But again, let's wait a few more days here and nail down the forecast for specifics like that. Are wildfires in Canada still a problem affecting weather in our area? The wildfires are still a problem up in Canada. Don't be shocked if we have more days of wildfire smoke coming in this summer. Canada is very much in a drought still.
Especially with that northwest flow.
Yep. The pattern there, that's your up-level jet stream you're covering there. Back, I'll bring it back up here. I'll just go down pivotal because why not? So when we get that northwest flow, basically, it's just that northwest flow. So up-level winds are coming out of the northwest, and what's to our northwest? Canada. There you go. That's a perfect look there at northwest flow. You see all this purple here, and the zoom in really close for you guys. So these lines here basically just indicate that that's your bridging, and this is going east, and it shifts to the southeast here. That's your winds coming out of Canada. So any fires up here, the smoke will travel down here into Michigan. So yeah.
And you do have other low-level features that could blow in other directions. But once it gets up into those mid levels and higher levels like the jet stream, it will eventually carry our way. Yes, I go to CMU, Central Michigan. So I'm here in Mount Pleasant right now.
Will it be humid when we hit the upper 80s? Yeah, it'll feel humid. It will.
Could take a look at the dew points.
We can. Overall, yes, the pattern would be a little bit more on the moisture. Is that a word? The moisture side of things. Here's, for example, or go ahead and animate this for you. Go ahead and take this back here. So the greens would basically be a more so of a moist atmosphere here. And we see we need the 12Z. Hold on, guys. Once we get past Wednesday, that's when the pattern shifts. Why is this not loading? I had the 18 and this.
Maybe just try the GFS.
Okay, that's fair. There we go. Let's just try this. So the greens are your moisture, and the blues and purples are your really deep moisture, more sufficient, should I say. And we're going to see that moisture hang around for multiple days here in the Midwest. So, yeah, it's going to feel humid as well. That just continues just to flow up freely from the Gulf of Mexico with the lack of any significant jet stream, pulling it until we get up here to the northern U.S. So, yes, it's going to feel humid.
Is that purple 70s, right?
Yep. When we get into 70 dew points, that's like your. So, yeah.
No one better clip that. That's quite the sound effect.
Don't give him ideas, Joel.
That's like tropical rainforest dew points at that point.
Yeah. Sufficient for severe weather. We're looking at probably low to mid 60s at baseline here in the summertime. When we get closer to 70, though, and upwards of 70, that's when you're going to start sweating when you're just standing outside or sitting down outside. That's like moisture on your skin.
I will say, I think looking at the extended 7 to 10 day, most of our days are going to be partly cloudy, or you'll see like peaks of sunshine almost every day with those couple rain chances mixed in.
And hopefully that helps keep the temperatures, the high temps down just a bit too, because if we have pure sun, we'd probably be looking at probably low to mid 90s as well. So instant, you better not be doing that. I swear. What caused tornadoes last month around Kalamazoo? Been wanting to ask that. It normally doesn't happen for us. Well, that's actually a myth there. Tornadoes happen in Michigan all the time. In fact, we get 16 per year on average. Last year we had 19, I want to say. But what basically happened was we had a really good wind shear that day, coupled with really good instability. We had good storm motion, stuff like that. We had everything come together really, but mainly the three things that came together was a large amount of instability in all levels of the atmosphere, coupled with directional wind shear, which changes direction with height to make make updrafts rotate. And then we also had quite a bit of spin. We call it helicity. So we had those three ingredients to come together, and that really set the stage for those tornadoes. My new ringtone. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, pretty much everything for SLIM, our acronym, was there that day. If we would have had a little bit more instability, I think those tornadoes could have been a little bit stronger, but thankfully we didn't have quite the instability, because if you guys remember, we had that morning line of showers push through, and that kept it fairly cloudy until after lunch.
Yeah, J-Man, if you go back to the beginning of the stream, we covered Thursday in depth as deeply as we possibly can right now. Short answer is yes, it's a possibility, but don't expect it just yet. Give it a few days.
Yeah.
Are we shocked by the Livonia tornado?
A little bit.
A little bit, yes.
Yeah.
That was a day we did not expect tornadoes in general. But Michigan does do funky things sometimes. But unfortunately, this time it did take someone's life. So there's a lot of more attention drawn to it. But yes, freak incidents like that can happen in Michigan. And we actually have a video out on our YouTube hopefully explaining a little bit of why that happened. If you want to go check it out, if you go to our YouTube page and scroll, it should be like the second or third video down. You should. It's titled "Livonia Tornado: A Reason for No Warning."
And I'll put that in the comments for you guys.
Yep. So Joel will drop a link in the comments, you guys, just to click directly for those of you who want to watch that. Cecil, just Wednesday, potentially Thursday. Thursday's the big day. We're kind of, or not really big, but bigger day. We're kind of keeping an eye on right now. Wednesday, potentially in the UP. Then also, if it slows down enough, Friday may become a concern as well. But again, we're not going to know details like that until we get closer. Just watch Thursday for now. If anything pops up for Wednesday or Friday, we'll let you guys know. What is our tornado count so far, including the gustnado? So including the land spout, we're at 9 for the year. So we're still below average technically. Why does it seem like we get severe warnings and tornadoes but not watches anymore? So watches are issued when the threat is supposed to be long-lived and more widespread. And these risks and these severe storms have been getting that have not had watches and such have not been on a large-scale basis. You can't issue a watch for one county. It makes no sense. Watches are issued more so on a large-scale basis. So like the entirety of South Central Michigan, for example, or the entire UP, for like a separate like 2 or 3 county block in Michigan, those watches don't really happen. So when the threat is more so expected to be long-lived or perhaps intense, at that point we get those watches. And the link is now in chat here to the Livonia video we made. Feel free to check that out for those of you who would like to. And for those of you watching on replay, again, you can go to our YouTube page, Michigan Storm Chasers, click the video tab, and it's going to be the second video down titled Livonia Tornado, a Radar Analysis and Reason for No Warning. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of you guys who are going to watch this are going to be watching this on replay. So want to get those, get the way to find that video out there for you guys.
I like how the logo is on your nose. On the StreamYard there. It's like transparent through your nose.
I tried to get my lighting set up here so it didn't have that little.
Eric says I'm planning on moving to Antarctica later this year to get away from the tornadoes. I mean, it's one way to do it. What's going on Thursday? Sorry. So we currently have a severe risk off to our west, just barely off to our west. It extends all the way up to the Lake Michigan shoreline for 15% chance of severe weather. However, we could see that's not including like the marginal that could also extend out beyond that. So we could see a little bit of the marginal in probably West Michigan, maybe Central Michigan on Thursday. But again, a couple more details to iron out as we get there. With the ridge being, well, I guess you could say just the northwest flow being kind of the driving factor here. We kind of have to get the timing set for the event before, which will be on day 4 for the Dakota area. And that could also extend towards Western UP on Wednesday. Do you know how many storm watches and tornado watches Michigan has had this year? So I believe the SBC page has a running count, but it doesn't have like a number. It just has like it's coded by color. I'm guessing off the top of my head, we've probably had half a dozen severe thunderstorm watches. And I know we've had, I think, 2 tornado watches.
A little bit off topic here, but I do want to mention this as well. There is a G2 solar storm watch in effect for tomorrow night. What that basically means is when you reach those G2 levels, that would make aurora possible statewide if everything goes as planned. So I do want to make that known as well. Keep an eye out for it tomorrow night. Although there are some indications that this may hit as early as tonight, overnight tonight. So if that happens, we'll let you guys know. But for those of you who like aurora and stuff like that, pay attention to our page. And if you have the Space Weather Live app, that's another good app to have to alert you when aurora is becoming active as well. So just want to mention that real quick. What's up, Drew? You guys in the comments crack me up sometimes.
Instant makes me feel like a Pop-Tart. That's funny.
Not ramen.
For those who are watching on Facebook, yeah, you guys probably can't see the YouTube comments, but they're kind of funny right now.
I will say this as well, not to like try and drive you guys over to YouTube, but the streaming experience overall in general is much better over on YouTube than it is on Facebook. So if you haven't already followed us or subscribed to us on YouTube, feel free to do so. It is free to do so. And just personal opinion, it's much better to watch on YouTube, not just us, but like anything in general. It's better to watch on YouTube. A cup of soup. Oh boy.
Just a reminder, I placed the link. Oh, okay. Join the dark side here on YouTube. We have cookies and custom emojis. Oh my gosh.
Only for our members, though.
That's true.
How we get on food? How we get on the topic of food tonight?
I think Instant was talking about Pop-Tart not being called a Pop-Tart.
If you guys got questions, feel free to drop those in chat now regarding the upcoming week. Otherwise, let us know what you're eating for dinner. Making me hungry. I agree, Julie. I'm getting hungry too. What's up, Drew? Over on over on YouTube now. Gummy bears.
It's still windy here.
Yeah, it still is here too. I actually gusted to 22 miles an hour today, which is in a city. That's pretty darn strong because I'm surrounded by buildings, so I don't get the full effect. Patreon members get cookies, right? I mean, yeah, they do. Pot roast. What's up, Isaac? Good to see you in here.
Pork chops and cheesy potatoes from Crystal. Yeah, that sounds like a really good dinner right now on a Sunday night.
Hey, it's a beautiful. Well, I can't really say a beautiful day across the entire state, as we figured out earlier. There's a cutting. Okay, backstory. I made a post earlier today on the Facebook page about how you can't get much better weather than this, and the comments were divided, half between people from northern Michigan and half from the southern part of Michigan. Oh yeah, it's beautiful, and then the other half was like, why? It's like 45 and windy. There's a cold front that's up near, we're going to say Gaylord area right now. It's pushing slowly to the south. North of that cold front.
I think it's here.
I think it's here.
60, it's 61 here now.
I mean, that's nothing compared to 45 in the UP right now. So, but the comments were sparked a outrage discussion.
I mean, compared to what we were at this time last year, if you guys remember, this time last year we had the really, really hazy skies. The Yankees game had that orange sky on the skyline. That came up in my memories 1 year ago today.
Yep.
So
you cannot complain when you see blue sky above you.
Yep. 4 years ago today, I don't know if anyone remembers, we had Tropical Depression Cristobal in Michigan. For those who may have been paying attention to the weather back then, that was 2020. 2020 was also the year that not only were we all locked inside, but the tornadoes also took a social distancing from Michigan that year. I think we only had like three,
I think.
Yeah.
And I think one was actually like a water spout or something. Oh, hold on. Now I'm curious. You got me curious now.
Yeah. 2020 was a very, very low tornado count for Michigan, which is good. But as we posted yesterday, the 71-year anniversary of Flint, we still can get, large tornadoes in Michigan. Just have to have the right ingredients at the right time. And thankfully, so far, since the 70s, we haven't had any violent tornadoes. So
I will bring it in here to show you guys the 2020 reports. As you notice, if you can zoom in on your page here, we had no tornadoes in lower Michigan. All three occurred up in the UP. So.
Oh, yeah. So Lower Peninsula had none.
Yep. So There you go. Social distancing between peninsulas. The UP had them all that year.
Mm-hmm. Crystal says we didn't have you guys in 2020, so no, we weren't paying attention to the weather like we do now. Aw. Thank you.
That's a lot. That's actually a good point that we can kind of segue into just making a statement here that a lot of people are like, is this normal? Is this weather normal? Like, yeah, this is normal. And I think a lot of people are just becoming more aware of what's happening around them. This is completely normal. We get tornadoes all the time here in Michigan, albeit not, as many as Ohio or Indiana. They average more than we do on an average year. But yes, severe weather always happens. And, surprise incidents like Livonia do happen here in Michigan. So it's not uncommon.
Yeah, it was a very smoky summer last year, Christine. I think we had like a whole month of smoke. What's going on in the chat right now? Banana split. Sounds good. Here's a random thought. Ryan, Joel, is there a way to overlap every damage map of Michigan for the month, year, etc.? I'll be curious to see what area is left clear. I think there is, but it's on the SBC website. If you look at just tornado reports alone and all the tornado reports that have been reported over history. So if you go to like tornadoarchive.com, I believe it is, they just made a website that I actually was kind of like overseeing a little bit. It shows all the tornadoes from even back before 1950. So if you guys remember, before 1950, the word tornado was banned. And so there was not many tornado reports before 1950. However, there still was tornado reports that were surveyed. And we had Ted Fujita that was out and about doing that back in the day. So you can see all the tornado reports back to I think the 19th century on that website. And you can really see that the United States, there's pretty much, especially on the eastern half of the United States, it's just covered in tornadoes. I believe what is going on in chat is known as shenanigans. Yeah. What's the fish fly forecast? I think they've already hatched, right? Anyone see that video out of Cedar Point? I think everyone was trying to get on the ride, and there's like a million in the waiting line, and it was like 9:00 at night, and everyone's just like karate kicking the air and just swatting everything. It was crazy.
Wait, for real? I haven't seen this.
Yeah, I don't know where you're gonna be. I think it was on X, so
I'll find it.
Yeah,
I'll find it. But yeah, we actually we saw a huge swarm of we call them mayflies off of Lake Erie here in Monroe County. Saw them on radar. It was actually pretty cool. I actually had a few on my house here yesterday or Thursday. But yeah, they're bad down there by Monroe.
Yeah.
The chair broke. Actually, I'm sitting in it right now. Shameless. I know. Any other questions, guys? Been on here about 35 minutes or so. Forbidden Rice Krispies. Yep. Julie, I agree about those fish flies. What is Thursday's outlook appearing to be? Right now, to be determined. If we're going to get severe weather this week, it's going to happen one of 3 days. Wednesday, Thursday is the main day we're going to watch, but also Friday as well. Wednesday, UP would be on alert. Thursday, we're going to say the entire state for right now. And then Friday heavily depends on how Thursday plays out. But those are going to be the 3 days. Potential is there. Don't lock anything in just yet.
High pressure is convergence and divergence. That's kind of just the whole thing. So everything is you have at the surface. So let me think here. High pressure. I'm thinking of my like charts from meteorology. Because high pressure is divergence wind going out, and that's why you have clear skies at the surface. But up in the upper levels, you have convergence, which is low pressure. So low pressure exists above the high pressure. And then it's kind of like vice versa when you have low pressure at the surface, high pressure up, and that's where you have your divergence. So it's kind of just like the wind belts. It's all driven by Earth's rotation in the end run. So it's kind of cool.
You know, Joel, Chandler went on vacation back on May 7th. We got basically an outbreak of severe weather. And now Drew is going on vacation. So are we going to see a pattern here? Hope not, but are we seeing a vacation? MSC member takes a vacation, we get severe weather?
That's what happened in 2021 when I went to the UP.
You were here, though, for Lake Odessa, the June 26th time frame, though.
Nope, I was in the UP.
No, you weren't.
I came home to survey that Lowell tornado.
Because I know you were with me down in Indiana back on the 21st.
For my first tornadoes, yeah.
That was we were there back again like 3 days later. June 21st. We had that cold water tornado warning. I have a picture of you down there, so.
Mm-hmm.
And then you must have left shortly after that, because then 5 days later we had those 6 tornadoes over on the west side of the state.
Drew was also gone in 2021 when that happened. I guess we just got to keep everybody here.
Krista, yes, they can, pick up and drop like that. That's definitely a possibility, but also tornadoes can weaken and strengthen very, very quickly. So even though it may be on the ground still, the winds may have weakened to a point where they're not going to really affect much. So it looks like it'll lift it at that point. But overall, yes, tornadoes can lift and touch back down.
So Drew is going on vacation this week. What day are you coming back, Drew? Because that's when the severe will stop.
Probably Friday or Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Ben on vacay. He's at a camp, I think.
Is he?
Yeah, so he's gonna be gone for a couple weeks.
Man.
Next week Wednesday. So that's right when it's
supposed
supposed to.
Guys, we got 10 more days to go.
Yeah, that's when it's really gonna heat up too. So that's when the ridge really kicks in. Ouch. Yes, hit the like button if you've appreciate our briefing tonight. We kind of already went over a lot of it. If you want to go back and look at it, you can just back up in their stream. I'm not sure if it's easy to do it during Facebook Live. I know on YouTube you can just back it up whenever you want.
I see a question here from Eric a few minutes ago. It seems like strong tornadoes happening on very low risk days with no hashed risk happen more often than they should. Can you elaborate on this? Can you give me an example, Eric, if you're in chat here? We were talking about the May 7th Portage, Kalamazoo, Sherwood tornadoes. That day, the 10% hashed was sitting just off to the south of Michigan. So technically, a 25-mile point would put those areas in play of that stronger tornadic risk, but also storms don't always have to follow SPC mapping. These SPC maps are man-made, and they're just based off our best guess given models and current environment. It's not a set thing. So just because there's no hashed risk or there's stuff happening outside risk areas, it happens all the time. It's not really happening more often than it has before. But if you have another example of that, Eric, feel free to drop it in chat. Feel free to discuss that.
Oh no. Isaac clipped our thing from earlier and posted it on X.
No, Isaac. I
just saw it pop up my notifications.
I should probably look.
Yeah, we are over on X. You can follow Ryan. It's at RyanWX_, and then my account's just my name, Joel_Fritzma.
And full disclaimer, what we post on our personal Twitters does not reflect anything professional here on MSC.
Correct, yes.
So keep that in mind. Oh no, Julie, I gotta go check this out myself. I'm afraid to look.
See, there is what happened to nothing severe expected for a while. You want to answer that, Ryan?
Yeah, so in that ridge video I made a few days ago, some of you are referencing that. I was more so hinting at the overall pattern in general. When we get these ridges, yes, the pattern does slow down. It will slow down, considering we've had like a system or two per week of like these low pressure systems training off, the West Coast to the East Coast there, severe weather in the plains here in the Great Lakes. That's going to come to an end. And the ridging is going to set up, and then we're only going to have storm chances either A, via lake breeze boundary on summertime days, but also B, those kinks in the waves, or the kinks in the flow, should I speak, the short waves. That's going to be our only real chance, and that doesn't happen too often. So maybe once every 10 days to 2 weeks probably be a good guess. It's not a very – it can be active at times, but the large majority of the 3 or 4 week period would be a lot less active than what we've been experiencing so far dating back to February. And I'll have a video out about that probably either tonight for you guys who are members or tomorrow for sure, both for members and public. I also got to work on the video of explaining how tornadoes are depicted on radar as well. That was a well-requested video in our comment section, so that's going to be coming here soon. Can storm chasers tell when a tornado is forming by looking at cloud formations? Yes, absolutely. There are a lot of keys to pointing out tornado genesis in the field. It's okay, Isaac. It's okay.
I don't know if we're able to post a video on here.
Nah.
No. I know some of you guys don't have X, but it's hard to actually insert a video on our stream.
What stays on? Oh, go ahead.
As I say, maybe when we get over to OBS streaming software, we'll see. Soon.
Yeah, we have a lot of upgrades in the works, guys. A lot of upgrades.
Yeah, we'll finally get the clock everyone's been.
Every stream. Why is there no clock? Where's your clock at? It's coming, guys. It's coming. And that's not the only thing either. You guys ever had chicken bacon ranch pizza?
Yes.
I have not.
It's so good.
I like how you're looking over that profile, Joel.
It's so good. Thank you. Also, thank you, Kendall, for the support. Yes, I did post in the comments. I really like it. And then Instant was like, no, but it is really good.
For as much as we like talking with you guys and you guys like talking with us, we should just do like a set aside podcast open discussion time. That'd be a really cool thing, I think, to do.
Mm-hmm. Where's your clock? Still in the
Come on, Instant. Come on. Clock for what? Good question there, Dawn. So when we're live covering severe weather, clocks are vital. Make sure it's number one to make sure that you're watching in real time or at least close to it, because there can be delays, on both platforms where you may be a couple minutes behind. You may not notice it. So clocks for that regard come in really handy. But also when new warnings come in, I will say until 7:30 p.m. this warning is in effect until 7:30. People have a clock right there to know what time it is and say, okay, well, I have X amount of minutes, or at that point, and also calling out cities and stuff like that in the path of for tornadoes or damaging wind. We'll say Lansing in 10 minutes, or Lansing at 7:30, Owasso in 7:45, and they can look around the screen and say, all right, there's the clock. So it's like a real-time referencing. So clocks are vital to coverage of severe weather.
I'm gonna go.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm gonna go buy a chicken bacon ranch pizza tonight just to spite. I'm serious. I'll go get one right now after this is done.
And you gotta post
posted.
You gotta post it. Yep. We need clips to when Joel's eating food too during live streams. Now that's something that we can. That's something that's awesome though about being independent and doing this. We can eat if we want to on stream and not have to worry about it. So.
Hope this ain't a rinse and repeat.
Of what?
Probably for severe.
We'll have to kind of see how Thursday especially plays out, because that'll probably be the biggest concern right now. It looks to be damaging winds as a primary concern. But again, we'll wait to narrow down hazards in general or in specific when we get closer to Thursday.
Yep.
Where do we find this pizza? Joel, you going to post it on MSC or your personal Twitter?
I mean, I don't know. Like I can post it on X, and then I'll post it wherever I can, like the subscribers group chat and X. So yeah. There's a local pizza restaurant up here that makes like little 11-inch pizzas that I'll just go and get one from.
Ever had pickled bacon and ranch? That sounds really good, actually. That sounds really good.
I'm hungry.
Same. Speaking of being hungry, I do believe we're reaching the end here of our stream here. It's been a good discussion, but been on 50 minutes or so. So you guys are still watching. I'll go ahead and recap everything one more time here. So if you're sticking around with us, thank you. But overall, we need to hop into the topic of the stream real quick. So next couple of days being Monday, Tuesday, 70 degrees statewide, probably a little bit less up in the UP, northern lower, probably upper 60s, mid upper 60s up there. And then as we get into Wednesday, we're going to see a warm up statewide here into the 80s. It's going to hang around for quite some time here. We see this heat hanging around with humidity. Dew points are going to be up there as well. So it's going to be the hot, humid type of summer weather we're all used to here in Michigan. So it's finally here. For those of you who want summer, it's here. All right. Precip chances Tuesday, showers across much of northern lower in the UP. Not concerning for Tuesday. Wednesday is our first concern here for the UP. We're going to watch it. There's no risk in place at all for any day right now, but that could change. Overlapping wind shear instability. Wednesday up there in the UP does look like there's a good environment up there. So if stuff can pop up, we could see some severe weather up there in the UP and perhaps lower Michigan as well. But right now the risk is highest off to the west here and also in the UP. And then attention then shifts over to Thursday, as we're going to have a kink in the upper level flow that could spark off some showers and storms. In particular, Thursday afternoon and evening, we're going to see an overlap here. We're not going to see an overlap, but we're going to see hop on the European. Give me a second, guys. I was not prepared to do a recap real quick. Just go ahead and pop this back in here. So the instability is going to be there. Here is Thursday for a good example for you guys. Right here, we're going to see these blues and yellow colors indicating we're going to have instability up over 1,000 to 2,000 over here in Wisconsin. And that's going to support, or should I say, may support potential for thunderstorms that could be strong or perhaps severe. Looking at our wind shear, though, it is a little bit lacking in some spots, mainly behind the lead shortwave. So to kind of watch that and see how that overlaps. But overall, we're seeing the first signs of ingredients coming together here for Thursday in general for, we're going to say statewide right now, potential for severe. And then if that slows down even further, Friday may become a concern, but right now that Wednesday, Thursday time frame, we're going to key in watching Friday as well, but Thursday would be the day to watch. With that being said, next couple of weeks will be above average. There's your 6 to 10 day, 8 to 14 day, and then your 3 to 4 week, all showing Michigan in above average preset or above average temperature, likely going to see well above average into the later parts of June. Likely going to have repeated warmth in the upper 80s, low 90s repeatedly throughout the June 12th to the end of June timeframe, probably into early July, as well as the upper level ridge is going to set in, allowing warm air and also moist air to fill in across much of the USA. So that'll increase our storm chances if we get those kinks in the flow, and also give us our typical summertime weather here in Michigan. So summer is here, but we do have a couple of chances of severe as well, primarily on Thursday. That's your recap, guys. So thank you guys for watching. Smash the like button for us if you haven't already. We'd appreciate that. Anything else, Joel?
Oh, there's one more comment that says, so if the lakeshore has a bow echo of wind coming out, would that be a higher risk for people who live around the right lake shores, or is that risk more concerning as it funnels out? So the lake is flat. It's like a flat surface. So, the friction, it's like friction basically. When you go on land, you have much more things kind of slowing that down. When you have an open lake, that's not going to be slowing down really much of anything. So yeah, if you live pretty much along the immediate lakeshore, you're more susceptible to like gale force winds and stuff like that, as opposed to going inland. Obviously, you can still, if it's a strong enough bow, it can make its way inland. But yeah, that's the last question I saw.
All right. All right, we'll be live here again if needed for briefings as we enter the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday timeframe. Expect YouTube videos to drop every day this week, roughly mid-afternoon, maybe perhaps earlier, closer to the noon, regarding multiple topics, including Wednesday, Thursday, Friday as well. So feel free to subscribe here on YouTube. It is free to do, and you won't miss any content from us by doing so. With that being said, we're going to hop off here and enjoy our evening. You guys do the same as well. Stay safe, and we'll see you again likely this week at some point at Michigan Storm Chasers.
Thanks, everyone.